Good morning. This morning we are making biscuits for breakfast. So I didn't know how to make biscuits for a long time, and I thought it was really difficult. But it turns out it's quite easy. Um, so when we first got married, we used canned biscuits, and then we tried frozen biscuits, and they were better than the canned biscuits. And then we moved back home to Rogersville, and I had a little bit more time, I guess, and was in the kitchen more. And I learned how to make biscuits like from scratch, and I was so very excited about it. I just found a recipe, right, Southern biscuit recipe. And I know some people like freeze their butter, but I just like to use cold butter straight from the refrigerator. I have a friend that grates his butter. So, everybody has different things that work for them, but this is what works for me. So my recipe calls for 2 cups of flour, but usually for just me and Jonathan, I only need a few biscuits, and so I half that recipe. So today we're going to do that. We're going to do half of the recipe, which is a cup of flour. Sorry, I need to get my leveler. Cup of flour. And I'm going to put that in my little bread bowl that my dear friend Diana Blackwood bought for me one Christmas when we were just out like spending some time together. I was admiring them, and she bought me one, and so I just absolutely love it. It's just perfect for making biscuits. Sometimes I use a bigger bowl, like when I'm making more biscuits, the full recipe. Now the amount of butter called for in the full recipe is 1 stick, but because I'm just making for Jonathan and I again today, yeah, I'm just using a stick of butter. I try not to handle the butter a lot, and I use my butter cutter, right? And I'm just going to cut my butter in. You could use a fork if you didn't have one of these. You can use your hands, but again, I try to keep the butter as cold as possible, because when it'll melt into the biscuit when it's cold and into the dough. Now I do have my skillet sitting right here in front of me, and Jonathan just reminded me that I need to put the skillet in. So I heated up my oven to 425, and we're going to put the skillet in. And usually I do that before I start mixing the biscuits together, but I was excited this morning. I get like, okay, this is a task at hand, and that's what I routine. Sometimes you forget to follow the routine. I do anyway. So the skillet's in, getting hot, and that will give you a nice crust on the bottom of the biscuit. Now I'll go back to what I was talking about the butter. I don't like to handle the butter a lot, because then it'll get melted and it won't be as cold when forming the dough. So I try to do all of my cutting of butter into the flour with the butter cutter. My butter is now it's about pea size, like a little green pea. When you read that, pea size. We're talking about, think those little green peas that you either grow or buy in the supermarket or the farmer's market, possibly. All right, so let me get my butter out. I'm going to add my buttermilk. Now the buttermilk, halving it is a little bit more tricky than halving the flour and the butter. Buttermilk biscuits are so tasty. That buttermilk has a little bit more acid in it, and it just gives that flavor. So good. I have not brought myself to drink buttermilk yet, although my brother-in-law, Kenny, does like to drink buttermilk. All right, okay. I always think about him when I think about drinking buttermilk. because I don't drink buttermilk. Now, the recipe, a full recipe, calls for 3/4 of a cup. But if you take 3/4 of a cup, it's somewhere between 1/3 of a cup and 1/2 of a cup. So I find, though, that I usually need to add a little bit more than I tend toward the 1/2 a cup. That's what I tend toward. So today I'm going to go a little bit less than 1/2 a cup. Gave my buttermilk a good shake. And we will see. I may have to add a little bit more, or I may have to add a little bit more flour, right? Just depending on the texture and how well the dough comes together. Now, I'm about to get my hands into the flour and mixing. I'll use a spoon first, but eventually I'll have to use my hands. And so my little ring holder that my sweet Caitlin got me from Spain when she visited her friend Haley. Put my rings in there. Oven's up to temperature, so I know my skillet's ready too. So pull my sleeves up, right? We got Diana bought this bread bowl for me from UG White's in Athens, Alabama. UG White's is a great little general, like it's almost like a general store. I think it was originally more like a hardware store, but I think of it more now as a general store. Got a little restaurant that sits beside it. They carried clothing for a while. I got some cute clothes from there. Little summer shirts. I don't know that last time we were in there, they didn't have a lot of clothes. You'll see that I'm putting off getting my hands in it for a while. I don't like getting my hands too messy, but it's about that time. Okay, it's coming together really well. I can still see a little bit of liquid in there, so I still need to mix it a little bit more. I think I'm going to have to add some more buttermilk just because. But I will wait. I'm going to wait. I'm going to mush it together. I'm going to mush it together. Isn't that a great word? Mush. I think that's also the word they use when they want dogs to run in Alaska. Okay. Now I am going to turn this out on my counter just because it's easier to work with that way. So I've got everything mixed together. Yeah, it's going to have some more buttermilk. It's too dry. So I'm just going to make a little. So really probably could have added a complete 1/2 a cup instead of. So you don't want to handle it too much because you'll make your biscuits tough. And that's usually I do 3 or 4 folds, and then everything's sticking to my hands this morning. Okay, it's coming together now. Just pat that in. I'm getting to show you all the things when it doesn't work exactly like you want it to. Or maybe, All right, so I found that, of course, the height of your dough influences the height of your biscuit. So since it's just me and Jonathan today, I don't need to, 3 biscuits and we'll be good. So I'm going to cut that with my biscuit cutter. Now, when you cut with your biscuit cutter, you want to go straight down. I've seen people twist, but I get better height when I just go straight down. You want to twist. All right, so there's one. I do want to show you. You can kind of see those layers in that biscuit, and so it's going to puff up. Now I'm going to fold again. Make the biscuit about the height I want it. The full recipe, oh goodness, the full recipe makes about 7 biscuits. So half the recipe, depending on the size of the biscuit that you make, it can make 3 to 4. And today we are definitely going to have 3. Get that.
Have a lily biscuit?
Sometimes we have a lily biscuit, and we may have a little bitty lily biscuit. My lily biscuit is just where I take the dough and stick it together. Okay, this one's going to be a little shorter, and it's probably going to, I don't know, I might spread out a little bit. Okay, raining dough. We have a little puppy, a Dotson, and she likes to eat people's food, and so this is her biscuit. Oh, there we go. A little bit more. So this is the lily biscuit. Now I need to take my skillet out. Sometimes the lily biscuit is the Rochelle biscuit if I'm wanting to nibble. All right, our skillet's hot. I hear it sizzle just a little bit when I put those biscuits in. All right, so we've got 3 biscuits in a lily biscuit ready to go in. Those will go in for 22, no, I'm sorry, wrong recipe. Those will go in for 13 to 15 minutes at 425. Remember to set your timer. Hey, so our timer's gone off. I ended up having to add a couple of minutes because I wanted them to brown a little bit more on top. So we've got, this one got a little browner than I wanted it to. And I didn't add a few minutes, but I was just waiting to pull it out of the oven. So now we're going to put some, I like to put butter on top of my biscuits. Especially if they come out pale, your butter can definitely give them more of a golden look. We do keep our butter on the counter. It is salted butter that we keep on the counter, but we keep that on the counter so that we always have some soft butter, because it's nothing like needing some butter to make grilled cheese, and it's too hard for you to spread on your bread. So here's our biscuits, and they will be scrummy. My first biscuit, I'm going to tell you, my first biscuit always comes out looking lovely, and then my second biscuit's usually a little less, but they still taste good. You can leave comments below about how you make your biscuits, and this is what works for us mostly.